I know. Says I gotta go, tired of going solo. But I'm never gonna go there again. This is what it is, this is who I am. This is where I finally take my stand. I didn't want to fall, but I don't have to grow. I'm not the one with two star hands. Giving him the best of everything that's left of the life inside this man. I've been born again.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Eddie Huff here with you, with my friend David Van Risingham. And if you don't believe it, just read his shirt. Yeah. He wants everybody to know who he is going down in the street.
Hey, when you're a band dad and your son's a recording artist, you get every one of his T-shirts.
Oh, do you? Oh, was that the name of his group?
Well, he was a solo artist, you know. He just went by Van Risingham. Van Riss is what he ended up deciding to go on.
I see.
And this was the tour that actually ended up taking him to Germany. Got a #1 hit there.
Yeah.
And I was at a family reunion this weekend. Sorry we didn't do a Saturday podcast. I was reminiscing with the folk back.
If he had made that A into an O, he would have really gone big in Germany.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the German is von.
Yes,
Instead
it
of
is.
Von, it's von.
Yep.
It means the same thing. It's from.
Exactly.
But,
if you have a German name, that helps. Ask David Hasselhoff. He'll tell you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, you know, one great memory I have of the Hoff, as they call him, the Hoff, was New Year's of 2000. No, I'm sorry. It wasn't 2000. I'm sorry. It was 89.
Okay.
Yeah,
that sounds right.
Is when the wall fell down.
Yeah.
It would have been, wait a minute, would it have been 89 or?
90, I think.
It was 90. Yeah, it was 90. Anyway, I'm in Augsburg, Germany. It was New Year's Eve. And the wall had just come down, the East German wall, the Brandenburg Tor, or gate, it means gate. So they have this big celebration there at the Brandenburg Gate. And there's David Hasselhoff at midnight, fireworks going off, and they have this crane with David Hasselhoff singing up in the air over the Berlin Wall, which is people are pounding and knocking it down.
That's right, Dominion.
And there's David Hasselhoff singing away, you know, and he was a big hero, but that's a memory I have. I stayed up and watched that there, and it was good to be a part of it, the taking down of the wall.
Oh, it's one of those moments because it was a spontaneous thing. Yeah, the East German president just all of a sudden announced with no prior notice, and everybody climbed the wall, didn't have to worry about getting shot.
Well, they were already starting to chip pieces and taking it down, but then all of a sudden, actually what happened, the East German president fled.
Yes, that's what he did.
And then he was gone, and people just went nuts and took over. And the Germans, the East German, the guards, they finally said, "Hey, I'm not," and they start running, you know, taking their clothes off and throwing their guns away. I'm not with them. I'm getting out of here too. So all of a sudden, everybody's a West Berliner. As John F. Kennedy said, "Ich bin ein Berliner."
There you go.
Ich bin ein West-Berliner. Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, but it was a good time to be in Germany, but it was very interesting showing the difference between East and West because I remember one of my neighbors was a manager in Munich at the BMW, which is Bavarian Motor Works, is what BMW stands for. Bayerische Motoren. But anyway, so this guy, he told me, he says, man, these people, communism, he showed how bad, and it's getting that way here.
Yeah.
So he said the difference in there and us, so he had all these East Germans come and start working in these West German factories. And so they had a plant where they're doing BMWs. And so he's got this East German worker he hired, guy sitting there reading a newspaper in the middle of the day. And he walked in, "What are you doing?" He said, "Oh, this part, I have this tool here, it's broken." He said, "Yeah, well, go get another one." He said, "What do you mean go get another one?" He said, "You go back in the supply room, get you another one." He said, "You have another one?" He said, "You have another one?" He said, "Yeah, there's plenty of them. There's a whole room full of them." He said, where I came from, you'd have to wait 6 weeks to get a new part. So they just wouldn't work. They would just sit there. They were hoping they're probably breaking the tools on purpose. So they sit there and read the paper, do whatever they wanted. And I remember even, this goes all the way back, when I was in college, a summer job I had was in a printing plant for the U.S. Army, where they printed all the DA forms, Department of Army forms that they used for the military over there. So me and my buddies, we did the cutting. We cut, did I tell you about this? These giant sheets of paper?
No.
Yeah, I ran a paper cutter.
Oh,
and we
you
would
were
do
talking about
500
that
sheets
one
at a time. Yeah, where
that's
you
right.
didn't want to get your arm.
Yeah.
But we would have 500 sheets. You'd put about 50 at a time, but they were like, probably about 5 feet by 3 feet. You put them on this thing, and then you had a thing, and air would blow up to keep them floating so you could move them around.
Right.
But you'd have to pound them, get everything even.
Yep.
And you, with a foot pedal, it brought this thing that held it flat, and then this blade came
The
and cut them.
guillotine.
Yeah. And it would cut 500 sheets at a time.
Yeah.
But then you would take those and you would turn them, and you'd make 2 cuts this way and 3 cuts this way, and then you would have these boxes, and you'd fill these boxes with 500 sheets per box.
That's how you get a ream. I mean, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway, we would do this, but the Germans, they would work really slow, and they would take a break at 10, go drink beer, then at noon for lunch, and then again at 2, and we were done at 3:30.
Oh, wow.
And then in between, they would take these bathroom breaks. They would just be gone. So the Americans, and we're college students, and we're working, so we're working so fast that the Germans couldn't keep up with us, so we had nothing to cut and bind, okay? Other ones were binding, like if you had like tablets where you had to tear sheets off, they would, take those sheets that I was cutting, and then they would slap glue on the end.
Yeah.
So, and then you would have the tear sheets.
The glue pads.
The glue pads. And so different ones that were still, so we're like a week ahead. So we're not working, so we're playing, we're sitting there playing cards. We're doing different, trying to figure out what to do. And so the first sergeant, who is supposed to be keeping an eye on us, and we're all sitting there playing cards, and the door opens, and he jumps in like, I caught you.
Yeah.
And we're playing cards, we're looking, hey, what's up, Sarge? And he goes, and I said, he was just like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Like, he thought we were going to freak out, like, act like we're busy.
Yeah.
We just kept playing cards.
Yeah, you're not enlisted, man. You don't have to worry.
No. What's up, Sarge? You want to say, should we deal you in? But no, but so anyway, so he says, God, what are you doing? He said, we don't have anything to cut.
Yeah.
These Germans are too slow. They're goofing around, We got all our work done.
Yep.
We don't have anything to do, So anyway,
Wow.
And he says, guys, well, you got to work slower.
Oh, jeez. Oh.
And, and we could, it just wasn't us. We just went, we're a bunch of college students. We got energy,
Yeah.
I think I was like 19 at the time. You got like 18 to 20-year-old guys, freshmen through juniors in college, and some were even just seniors in high school working for a summer job. And, we don't want to be goofing around. We want to work, Now, I think I told you, we would show up at 7 in the morning. The first 15 minutes, we're on a loading dock smoking hash.
Oh, God.
So
That's right, kids.
Yeah, so we're high and full of energy, and we didn't need speed. We were just,
Yeah.
But man, I mean, it was just funny, the work ethic. They talk about the German work ethic, but it was nothing compared to the American work ethic.
Yep.
And we're kids, American kids.
Yeah, teenagers at that.
Teenagers, and man, we're just putting it out. And these guys, these Germans, had all this high credibility, were great workers. They just knew how to do it. They knew how to.
They're good at engineering.
Oh yeah.
No doubt.
I give it to them. No, I agree. And they're very smart. In fact, they're smart enough to fool everybody into thinking that they were good workers.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Could you indulge me for a second? I want to say hi. We have listeners in Minnesota.
We have listeners.
Yes, in Minnesota.
Do we have watchers?
Joel and Sherry Van Russigam, they're relatives. Connie and Jeff Mossman, and my oldest brother and his wife, who's a former mayor of my hometown.
Oh, mayor.
Yeah, so we got.
Your Honor?
Yes, that's right. So I wanted to say hi to him, and
Okay.
all the Van Russigams, that came to the United States, settled in Onamia, and we went back to Onamia and had a great weekend. So I just wanted to say hi to them, and I had no idea we had people listening to Oklahoma politics.
All right.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, anyway, I was just reminiscing, and it just hit me as far as talking about work ethic and everything.
Sure.
The communists and the East Germans
Yep.
and the West Germans. And if you think about it, that was the West Germans. So just imagine the West Germans are complaining about the work ethic of the East Germans.
Yeah.
How bad, because the West Germans were already somewhat into socialism, democratic socialism.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The SDP, the Social Democratic Party.
Right.
And that's where we're headed. That's where they're trying to get us to. And I think we're all basically already there.
It's
and
bad.
we're headed to a totally DDR, Deutsche Democratic Party.
Right.
But, yeah, it's got to stop. We've got to stop that. So
Yeah, eventually you run out of other people's money, as Margaret Thatcher said.
Yeah. Hey, Dave, if you can indulge me a moment.
Yeah.
And this will actually, it's a good thing you mentioned your relatives in Minnesota.
Yeah. Yeah,
Minnesota.
sure. Don't you know?
I've got a little rant here
Yeah.
because I've been running into this week. And I've been...
Baby popcorn.
Yeah, get your popcorn. In fact, you may want to zoom in. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, I'm really perturbed about some things, okay? We had a pretty good night here in Oklahoma and in Florida.
Election, you mean?
Election. The primaries we had in Florida, we had a good night in those two places with especially you and I. Our candidates pretty much won it all,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So I was surprised on a couple of them that they won and won as largely as they did. Had a few arguments on Facebook, like I did.
No, Eddie, are you okay?
As I did with you when we met. But
I thought everybody agreed with you.
oh yeah, right. Everybody, including especially my wife. But anyway, no, I think we had a pretty good night on Tuesday, as did Florida. But I'm concerned on a larger picture.
Yeah, tell me.
You've probably heard that the GOP has been having a problem raising money in the last few days, last week or two.
I've heard that.
Yeah, and they say that we're way behind the Democrats. Now, I don't know if a lot of that is voter suppression attempts by the media or the Democrats trying to put that into our minds, or if it's for real.
Yeah.
And I know they've been playing this video of Mitch McConnell basically talking about we don't have good candidates and things like that. But it really kind of ticks me off. And I do see some of it, and I think I know why it is.
Why is that?
Well, for example, in Oklahoma, we have Republicans, who question Governor Stitt, Markwayne Mullin, and others based on what they've seen on some of these TV ads. The dark money ads, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Those of you that have seen those know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Dark money ads against Governor Stitt, against Ryan Walters, against Markwayne Mullin. Well, actually, Markwayne's weren't too bad. I'd say
That was a friendly race.
yeah. TW did pretty good. There were a couple that tried to, but overall, it was a pretty good one. But some of those were pretty bad, and it's going to get worse though. I've seen the new Hofmeister ad. You've probably seen that one.
No.
Oh yeah, she's got these cutesy ads, showing her this lovely family woman, doesn't talk about the horrible job she's done as the superintendent of education over 8 years.
Yeah.
But it's going to get worse. We'll see that. But it's not just here. States of Pennsylvania, Ohio, Wisconsin in particular, Arizona, the candidates are under attack.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
They're very much under attack. And they've been under attack a lot by Republicans. And I'm really disappointed because several Republicans in Oklahoma, some that I know close to, and strong Republicans just don't like them. And there's some don't like Markwayne Mullin. Just it's almost like the never Trumpers. You've got the never Mullins.
Yeah.
The never Oz's. The never what's his name in Ohio?
Vance.
Vance.
J.D.
Never J.D. Vance. And then of course in Wisconsin the senator. Ron Johnson.
Ron Johnson.
Who I think is one of the heroes.
He is.
He's a very right on guy.
Yeah.
And so, but it's based on things that it shouldn't be. It should not be a question.
Yeah.
Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker, listen, Herschel Walker is not eloquent.
Right.
I admit it. Okay?
Right. Yep.
Hey, one of my very close friends, you may have picked this up if you followed me or known me for years. One of my very close friends is Congressman, soon-to-be Senator Markwayne Mullin.
Sure. He's been a good friend.
Yes, good friend. In fact, if I call him or text him right now while we're on here, within 10 minutes, he will call or text back. I did the other night. Congratulations on the thing.
Yep.
He's in the middle of the campaign rally or welcome thing. Boom, 10 minutes. I told my wife, I said, watch, within 10 minutes, 5 minutes later, boom. Thank you, Eddie.
Yeah.
That's the type of person he is.
Yep.
Okay. I just want to say that because as good of friends as we are, I always tell the truth as I know it. When Markwayne began, he was not an eloquent speaker.
That's true.
He was an Okie.
Oh, he had some doozies early on.
Yeah. But,
remember when he said he's for single-payer health insurance? God, that was... to him, it meant, yes, I pay my own health insurance. That's what I think it meant to him.
Right.
But Washington's got everything backwards, and he didn't know their terms back then. I'm sorry, go back to
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
So Herschel Walker sounds like somebody that's just come out of the fields, a field hand or something. Somebody that's grown up, uneducated, so forth and so on.
Folksy guy, though.
Right.
Yeah.
But see, people are misinterpreting common sense and basic intelligence with eloquence.
Yep.
Okay. See, here's the difference in Republicans and Democrats. See, Republicans will sit there and hear Herschel speak and say, what an ignorant fool, or something like, they'll think he's not worthy. He's not intelligent enough to be a senator. Right. On the other side, you've got the Democrats who have a guy like Gus Johnson, who is the congressman from Georgia, has been probably, I think, 15, 16 years now. He's the guy, you may not remember this, as soon as I mention it, you will know exactly who he is, who sat in a meeting with the general of the Pacific Fleet, or maybe the Pacific Land Forces. I think it was an Army general. And he was concerned because we were having war games on the island of Guam. And he was concerned that we had too many troops on the island of Guam, and the island of Guam was going to tip over.
Yes,
now you remember.
Oh, God, you never forget that kind of statement.
Has anyone ever, has one Republican ever brought up the fact that this man is too ignorant to be a congressman?
Right. Yes.
Has anybody in the Democrat Party ever brought up, his competitor, anyone ever mentioned that this man is too dumb to be in Congress?
Yes.
No. The answer is no. They have
That's
never.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah. I've got Exhibit B. His name's Joe Biden.
It's even a better one, I'm sure. Yeah. You could go down the list.
Yeah.
The Democrats continually have ignoramuses.
Yeah. Nancy Pelosi.
Expressing their ignorance.
Yeah.
Never a peep in the media, never a peep anywhere.
Right.
If a Republican misspeaks, says something wrong, questionable, anything, it's everywhere. Oh, he's too dumb. How could anybody elect or vote for this ignoramus?
Right.
Right? And we, as Republicans, sit there and buy this.
Yeah. That is a liberal trick that goes all the way back to George W. Bush. They thought he was stupid. Never mind, he's got a master's degree from Harvard University.
But he was a strategist.
Yes.
His strategery was among the best, right?
Yeah.
No, but seriously, we have got to stop this, people.
Yeah.
We have got to quit allowing others to define our people.
Yeah.
If Herschel Walker is the guy, he's the guy. And he's the guy we have got to support. Yep. We've got to support him with our money. We've got to support him with our time. And above else, we've got to support him with our votes. The guy he's running against.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
You talk about stupid.
Well, not just stupid, evil.
Yeah.
This guy is a faux pastor.
Yeah.
Okay, he's supposed to be some pastor who believes in abortion to the nth degree. Mm-hmm. There's nothing biblical about the guy,
right,
which means he's basically a fake.
Yeah.
I mean, everything about this guy is fake from A to Z.
Yep. Yet,
he's the guy. Warnock is his name. Yep. I like to call him Warlock.
Yep.
Okay. Anthony Warlock. But the Democrats will line up behind this guy 100%, and you got Republicans who are thinking, oh, I don't know if I can line up behind Herschel.
Yeah.
I don't think he represents us well.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? You better line up behind him or you're not represented at all. Do you want to not be represented well or do you not want to be represented at all? Mm-hmm. See, right now, ladies and gentlemen, it's a numbers game. Mm-hmm. It's a numbers game. We either have the House and have the Senate or we don't. Mm-hmm. If we don't, Joe Biden will continue to be able to pass these things that he's doing with impunity. Mm-hmm. He'll be able to not only hire 87,000 new IRS agents, new NSA people to spy on your stuff. He'll be able to get the FBI, the NSA, the CIA, all of the three-letter initial agencies, and we will end up wishing we had the KGB and the FSB that Russia has. They have two. We will have umpteen, the Bureau of Land Management, which is doing all kinds of shenanigans. You saw about the Amish farmer. They're taking, they're finding him hundreds of thousands of dollars, taking his land because they want China to grow all of our agricultural products. Mm-hmm. And they're trying to kill our own agriculture, our own energy. They're wreaking havoc, people. And as long as we're sitting there playing these games, allowing them to play these games on us, they're going to kill us.
And I want to say something here. Let's go back to 2016. It's 3 weeks before the general election, and the Billy Bush tapes come out, right? And you saw a bunch of D.C. Republican insiders like Paul Ryan all of a sudden try to distance themselves as far as they can from Trump.
Fake Republican.
And this is Jim Bridenstine's finest hour, because he got on Twitter and he said one sentence. If Paul Ryan is not for Donald Trump, then I'm not for Paul Ryan. And CNN bid on it and said, you want to come on tonight? He went on CNN. He said, this election's about one thing, the Supreme Court. And he said, I'm standing for Donald Trump because of that one thing. And what did we get this year from our Supreme Court? The best year for liberty we've ever had.
Right. And we're about to lose it.
Yeah.
We're about to lose it because we got state after state now that is basically doing this to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
They're saying, we don't care what you say. We are not abiding by your...
Now, Rush Limbaugh told this story finally in his last year before he died. It goes way back to 2008 when Sarah Palin was picked for running mate from John McCain. And he was golfing with some guys, they wanted to golf him. And this whole time, they're saying, Rush, we've got to get Sarah Palin off the ticket. We're being just mocked. We're being ridiculed. And Rush finally said, wait a minute. What you're telling me is you want to let the national media pick our vice president.
Yes.
Because they're so worried about whether or not they're accepted and thought of as intelligent by the left. It's never going to happen.
Do the Democrats care?
Yeah.
Do the Democrats care? The vice president we have right now, do you think the media really cares? The Democrats really care? They may care, but you don't hear it.
Yep.
The Republicans are attacking her right and left, but it's quiet. It's maybe whispered, but they're not going to say it out loud that Kamala Harris is not worthy. Let's just put it that way, okay?
Yeah.
They will line up behind their person to the nth degree, and we need to line up behind ours, because I guarantee you our worst candidate is better than their best candidate.
Absolutely.
Look at Pennsylvania. Dr. Oz. Okay. What is he being attacked for? He was born in Turkey. Oh my God. He's born in Turkey. So what?
Yeah.
So what? Who cares? Where was Mitt Romney born? And what's he like? Where was Liz Cheney born? What is she like?
John McCain.
John McCain. Look, right now.
Barack Obama. Jury's still out on that, right?
Yeah, that's a good one. That wins it all. Yeah, but he's not a Republican.
I know.
But seriously, Dr. Oz, listen, Dr. Oz needs to win this election.
Absolutely.
The guy he's running against, the guy has brain damage.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not making a joke. This is not a joke. This is serious. This man is truly brain damaged. I don't even know if he'll make it to November.
Is that Fetterman?
Fetterman.
Yeah.
He literally is not well.
Yeah, had a stroke, can't speak.
Can't speak. Yet he somehow is leading Dr. Oz, and he's not leading Dr. Oz because of anything he's doing. He's leading Dr. Oz because we've got all these Republicans who are buying into some weird narrative that Dr. Oz is not. And it started with this black lady candidate.
Yeah.
Where they started attacking Dr. Oz, trying to build this lady up. Now you got a bunch of people mad because this lady lost and they can't get over it. Barnett. And she was basically a Trojan horse, I believe. That was a setup.
Okay.
See, the one beautiful thing about T.W. Shannon, I praise God for T.W. Shannon. He got up that night and said, congratulations to Mark Wayne Mullen, and I will do everything in my power to support Mark Wayne Mullen. That's the kind of people. And even McCormick in Pennsylvania said he will support Dr. Oz in this. So we have got to start supporting our candidates. Yeah. J.D. Vance, we've got to get behind J.D. Vance. We've got to get behind Ron Johnson. We've got to get behind McMaster's in Arizona. And what's her name? The lady running for governor. Listen, we cannot think around with this stuff.
Yeah, and I just want to say, if you have a problem with Herschel Walker not being able to be eloquent enough, Fetterman can't talk.
That's a good. Yeah, you just did it right there. You just stuck a fork in it right there. You put the cherry on top. Yeah, listen.
I like your rants.
This has to stop, people. Yeah. Seriously, we must support every GOP candidate, whether we like them or not. And then once we get in, we can work with it then. Yep. Honestly, that's what we have to do. We have to get them in and then let the leadership deal with it from there. But we've got to take back the House and the Senate and take control, because if not, I'm serious, it's going to be really bad. You think this first 2 years was bad? If we don't do this in the fall, it's going to be really bad. So I ask you to do two things. One, pull out your checkbook or your credit card and start supporting those candidates in those states. Go to Georgia, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Wisconsin, and Arizona, those states in particular, and start supporting those candidates. Okay?
Yes. If you got friends, relatives up in those states, give them a call, give them a boost, encourage them. If they need some help, pay for their gas money so they can go around, helping out.
Yeah, it's funny. I got this email. I'm on the email list with this Democrat city councilor. I don't know if you saw this on Facebook. I posted it on Tuesday.
I did.
And it was a city councilor, Democrat, who was telling people, if you need a ride to the polls, just call and we'll get you a ride.
Ooh, that's electioneering.
Well, exactly. That's what I thought. But it's a Democrat, so who's going to say anything? Because Republicans aren't going to report anything. They're not going to turn them in. And the Democrats, they're not going to say anything because they like her in that area. So, let us try it and see what happens.
Well, yeah, I mean, Bob Jack's facing criminal investigation. The Attorney General called for a special investigator.
Right. Someone should look into this.
Yeah.
Regarding this particular person.
If I'm Bob Jack, I'm blowing the whistle. Because, why should he go through this kind of thing and her not?
I agree.
Now, I think what Bob Jack did does need to be investigated. But, I'm just, look, this is electioneering. Because it's one thing to fill out part of a piece of paper for him. Another thing to get him in the car and give him a ride down there.
Yeah. And
because you're not even allowed to give them a bottle of water while they wait in line.
And let me imagine this. What a quiet ride that's going to be down there. Of course, they're not going to talk about anything on the way, are they?
Yeah. Now,
or who
when
to
I
vote
take
for.
my wife down to vote, I give advice. But that's my wife.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Right. But of course, if you're working for the person running for office, you're not going to mention anything, are you?
Oh. Yeah.
You're not going to have a sign on your car with that person or anything in the car with that person's name or face on it, are you? Or they're not going to remember who it was that sent you the email to give you that phone number. Yeah. I mean, come on. See, this is the thing Democrats do that Republicans can't do. Mm-hmm. But we can still outsmart them because we just have to work harder.
Sure.
We can work harder. We can work smarter. They take the easy, low-hanging fruit. We can get the better, higher-hanging fruit.
Yep.
We just have to work harder.
Yep.
So, all right, Dave. That's it. That's it.
Let's good rant.
Let's recap what has happened so far in last Tuesday's Oklahoma primary runoffs.
Well, we had, of course, some statewide races, and there were a couple of incumbents. One was really close, Leslie Osborne, which I supported her opponent, who was much less money in his campaign. In fact, we'd invite him a couple of times. He came within 6 points, 47 to 53 on the percentage. And Sean Roberts, I think, you should have come in here. We would have helped you. We did have him as a guest last week.
Yeah, let that be a...
But so he lost, but there was an open seat for state treasurer, and I like this guy, Todd Russ. He's from rural western Oklahoma, folksy guy, and he's been in banking, so he's got the experience. He's got 12 years in the legislature, so he knows the swamp, and then he beat Clark Jolly, who's kind of been an insider for years, a former senator. Ryan Walters. What was that? 60-40.
I'm going to channel Pat Campbell right now.
Yes.
We did it.
Yeah, that's right.
It was you and me. We got Ryan Walters.
Yeah, Ryan
elected.
came once. He was looking at coming a second time, but he had his calendar.
Got too busy,
And of course, Mark Wayne Wallen. I was talking election day with our good friend Darren Gantz, and I predicted it'd be a 2-1. And it was almost 64 to 30, whatever. 30.
I was actually surprised it was that big because TW came on pretty strong with his, although a lot of people had an issue. I think they saw what I saw. I think he went a little too religious. You saw those
it didn't look as genuine as I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
to me,
listen. Let me say this. I'm not questioning TW's faith.
I agree.
Okay, but when you wait to the end and then all of a sudden you become, your faith becomes this big thing. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Make sure that people's faith is preserved and safe and then at the end it seems a little bit of desperation.
Yeah, but in his concession speech, I think he had his best moment. I think that sets him up. He has a future because of the class he showed.
Oh no, I agree. I agree wholly. I think that I think someone needs to find a position for him. He would be great in someone's administration in D.C. In fact, what would be good if he could, the next Republican president could hire him.
Yeah.
Make it, one of his secretaries.
Yeah, he was early on a Trump supporter. And
he would be great, say, being secretary of the Bureau of Indian Affairs, something like that, a liaison.
That would be amazing as a black man and an Indian.
Yeah, and he really, what's interesting, he really has the Indians' concerns at heart because he's for McGirt.
Yeah, that's true. Now,
he's even for McGirt.
That's true.
That might have worked against him.
Last time I saw him at the Capitol, I said, "Now you're Freedman, right?" He says, "Actually, I have Freedman blood, and I have Chickasaw blood." So so he's in either way on that. But I think you're onto something. See, I actually would have thought he might be a good commerce secretary.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many banking.
But here's another thing. In 4 more years, we're going to need another governor.
Oh, didn't even think of that. That's right, because hey.
So,
anyway. One thing, I do have to say this. One thing about the difference in TW and your Cherokee and your Creek and others, I don't know how many know this, but of course, he educated me on the TW years ago. But the whole thing of freedmen, what happened during the emancipation when the Civil War ended, part of the treaty with the tribes was that those that came on the Trail of Tears, because they were part of the Confederacy.
Right, they were.
And they owned slaves. Okay. Part of the treaty with them was they had to do everything the Confederacy did. So they had to give the 40 acres and a mule.
Yeah, they were separate treaties, and it took a couple years afterwards for them to totally...
Right. And so they had an option. They gave them an option. You either give the 40 acres and a mule, like the white men were supposed to do to their slave, the white slave owners were supposed to do, or you make them a member of your tribe. Okay.
Full member, yes.
Right. Well, the Chickasaw out west, which is what TW is a part of, the Chickasaw.
Yeah.
They actually freed all of theirs, their slaves, and gave them the land and the mule. So they didn't have, there's no question there about the tribal membership. They are no longer members. So his family were landowners way out in western Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So all of those former slaves out west, they became landowners.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the Chickasaw are the only ones. I don't know what the Choctaw did or some of the others. But I think the Creek and I know the Cherokee, they decided to make them members of the tribe.
Yeah.
And then that's what happened a few years ago when they tried to kick them off the rolls, and they said, not so fast, my friends. Yeah. That created a big, you can't have it both ways, right? We'll end the whole treaty and take away all of your thing, or you keep them. So that's part of the deal.
Yeah.
So just so people understand what happened there.
Yeah.
And so it's a different deal.
Yeah.
But I guess what you're saying is that, so in TW's case, the half of him are part, so he's part
Yeah,
Friedman, the part.
He has
and the other
legitimate-
half is actual, he still has the actual Chickasaw blood in him as well, huh?
Yep. And so anyway, there's that race.
That's like double dipping there.
That's right. I tell you, this race is interesting. That Josh Burkeen and Avery Fricks.
Oh, yeah.
Because now there was over $6 million spent by dark money on that. And a friend of ours said, he says, either one that wins, Washington PACs probably own them because of how much money was spent.
Which money would you say was the darkest?
I don't know. I really don't know because, once you're outside of that, congressional district, you don't know because they're targeting a lot of mailing, a lot of local radio.
To me, in the end, when I was looking at the commercials, the ads, it really almost came down to cowboys and Indians.
Yeah,
Burkeen was really playing up the cowboy thing.
Yeah,
he really looks like Eastern Oklahoma, Southeast Durant cowboy.
Well, he's he owns a trucking company.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
and then Burkeen seems more like your Cherokee.
Well, no, I'm sorry. Burkeen is down in Choctaw territory. Right. He has a trucking company.
Right. And Burkeen, I'm sorry, Fricks seems more like the Cherokee.
I think he looks like a prep school boy. That's what I think.
Well, yeah, but it seemed more like he fit in better. Well, hey, listen.
I know.
You don't get any more Aryan looking than the Cherokee. My son played soccer with this family.
There's a lot of blonde Cherokees.
Blonde, blue-eyed. Totally, Hitler would have been proud of these kids. He couldn't have done a better job engineering these kids, and they were full Cherokee rights. Right. So I've always shaken my head at this. How can you be on the tribal roles of the Cherokee? But anyway, it's funny stuff. How that works. Anyway, but I'm with you. I didn't know much about Avery Fricks. I did know Josh Burkeen. We know him because he has been involved in conservative circles.
He has really been a stalwart against all those massive tax increases of 4 years ago.
Let me ask you this. Towards the end, there was a lot of the ads were saying that he was a never Trumper. And I'm trying to figure out where did that come from.
Well, if he voted for Ted Cruz, listen, they were playing fast and loose with the truth on everything.
So you mean he was a never Trumper like you were a never Trumper?
At one point, I preferred Cruz.
Yeah, but see, that doesn't make you a never Trumper.
You know what?
Because you are a Trumper now.
To an honest person, yes. Yeah. But when you're a campaign consultant and you're desperate, And now, let's talk about that other thing. This is he supported a system where Hillary would be our president. What that was, in my own senator, Gary Stanislawski, I got on to
the popular vote.
Yeah, national popular vote. Now, here's the thing. They all got snowed. There was like 40 votes for it and 5 against it. And I called my senator. He took my phone call that day. And, the way he explained it to me, I said, no. And I got to talking. He says, my God, I've been sold a bill of goods. Yeah. He got on. He put out a press release that night apologizing for it. And Burkeen did too. And a bunch of them did. Now, here's what the other thing I want to say. I was talking to Jameson Fott, Muskogee Political, great blogger.
We need to get him in here.
We do.
Jameson would be great when they have
great guy, great young man. I know his dad, state rep. But anyway, Avery Fricks, actually it was Jameson who uncovered it back 6 years ago or 4 years ago. National popular vote, a year later after that scandal, actually 2 years later, invited Kevin McDougal and Avery Fricks and a couple others to New York City for a Broadway show and a conference. And there's Avery Fricks taking their whining and dining 2 years later. You can't say, I got fooled because it was 2 years after the scandal hit.
Yeah.
So you talk about hypocrisy.
See, that's the thing. Because I remember I was still at KFAQ when that came up, and I had an argument with one of the former state senators about that, saying you do not want to. I couldn't understand how in the world anybody couldn't see that you're being bamboozled by this, that only a fool could support this. Yeah. Okay. But to me, see, that's how I feel about the constitutional.
Yes, I want to get into that with you because there's some new stuff going on.
There's the same thing that I see happening there, that people are being fooled into supporting the con.
Yes, liberal media right now, and actually Breitbart covered it. They're saying the Constitution no longer serves our needs. It's time to throw it away. The liberals are saying that. Now, here's where I'm going with this, Eddie. I think if we were to have a constitutional convention right now, we would have a civil war. There's no way about it. Is that hostile that if we tried to, because both sides would just be at each other, and it wouldn't even be a clean civil war, because you would have urban versus rural, basically. You know, so I am now fully convinced we don't want anything to do that anytime in the near future. I'm not saying it shouldn't be that, that option shouldn't be in the current Constitution, but we shouldn't exercise it now.
My big issue is that I don't trust the powers that be to deal honestly with it.
I agree.
And that's why you're playing with a hand grenade.
Yeah.
And you spell your own doom. And here's what's weird. I was raised to despise the John Birch Society. As a black person, John Birch is like saying Ku Klux Klan, right? But I've come to see the John Birch Society as one of the most honest.
It's your membership card.
as one of the most clear-headed and honest entities out there today for real truth in government.
Yeah, they are.
And if let me go ahead and I'm not getting paid. In fact, if you know anybody, see if they'll sponsor us or something. No, I know nobody. I know nothing. But I just have been to their website. I've read their stuff. Let me advise you, look up John Birch Society and read their stuff, their material. It's good stuff. It is. It's very good, it's very clean, and you will learn a lot. And they will deal with all these issues, and you will not be fooled. That way you will keep up with the information that we talk about and more. You'll be probably smarter than me. I don't know about Dave. He's pretty smart. But anyway, no, seriously. And I just think that it's something that we really need to look at. But the Constitutional Convention, I'm just opposed to it. What I'm in favor of is a revisit of the Constitution. In other words, revival of the Constitution. Be true. Let's go back to the Constitution as it was written, as the amendments were initially intended to be interpreted, not as they have been. For example, the 14th Amendment, strip all of the crap out of it that's been added, like finding some loophole for abortion and everything else in there, which is not really there, which it was never intended for. It was intended for one thing, and that was to give citizenship to former slaves. That's basically all in
that's
representation.
The context. That's the time it was written, in the conditions. What I want to say on this, the Article 5 Constitution of States, it's where the states did just like they did in 1787. They got together and said, okay, let's revisit this, and they ended up just writing a whole new document. Here's my concern on this. The condition we find ourselves in, an Article 5 isn't the remedy. And it's simply this, and I think you said it. If they're not obeying this Constitution, how we have any confidence they're going to obey any Constitution?
Yeah, and it's the camel's nose under the tent.
Yeah.
it's like you said here, because what happened? It's like years ago. I remember Baptist churches were having splits all over the country. You probably remember this over the charismatic issue.
Oh yeah.
Churches were splitting.
Yeah.
And my pastor, we had a charismatic church, and I went to him one day and I talked about these different churches, Baptist churches splitting, and the one group becoming a new charismatic Baptist church or whatever. And I remember my pastor telling me something. He said, I'm not in favor. And he was a charismatic pastor. He said, I think it's a dangerous thing. What you'll find is once a church splits, it will not stop splitting.
Yeah.
Because it's a spirit of rebellion in it.
I've seen that.
And me too. Yeah. And I started watching it, and every church I saw that split once, the splitter kept splitting, and eventually it ended up, it was gone. And the church, the one that remained, either stayed small or rebuilt, and they may have reformed and changed or whatever.
Right.
But the splitters continued because there was that spirit. There were unhappy people, and the ones that split, there was still somebody unhappy, and that spirit of unhappiness it was that itch that can't be scratched.
I agree. It awakens that in some of them, not all of them. No. What I've seen is maybe a third go with one side, a third go with the other, and a third just go home and never come back to church. That's another issue. So I agree with you. And it's very much that way, whether it be a government or community or whatever. We've got to find a way to heal our land.
We do.
Yeah.
Amen.
That's just it.
And it begins with prayer. But, see, it's so funny because I find myself always like this. And we need to heal our land. 2 Chronicles 7:14, yes, okay, if my people, right? But you can't just lay around.
Yep.
All right, God, you do it, right? No, we are his hands, we are his feet. We have got to put action to the prayer. We've got to do something about it.
Yeah.
This nation founded by godly men, prayer warriors, people that prayed, but what did they do? They had a revolution. It ended up that way. I don't think they wanted a revolution. It was forced upon them. They didn't attack the British. They were attacked by the British, right? Yeah. They defended themselves, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
Okay? That's how it happens. So we have to see the weapons of our warfare are spiritual. And we have to begin there. And so we pray, we praise. I still believe praise is the greatest weapon. And then we speak. We preach, we speak, we communicate, we speak to others, we influence. We have a great thing in our country. It's called the vote. We have representatives.
Yeah.
As the Bible says, what? Don't make anyone a deacon too soon.
Yes.
I agree with that. Don't make anyone a congressperson too soon.
Yep.
Don't make anyone a senator too soon. Check them out.
Yeah, let him be proved in a lesser office, because Jesus said, he who is faithful in little, I'll make him ruler over much.
Right.
You prove yourself.
Prove them.
Yep.
And then once that happens, once you get to see them, Dr. Oz, we've seen him over the years. You've seen him on TV.
Yeah.
You like him or you don't, okay? But I think if you scrutinize and look at the man, he's a good man. He's a family guy.
Yeah.
J.D. Vance. If you haven't had a chance, go rent, it's free actually on Netflix. It's called Hillbilly Elegy. You get to see where he came. Have you seen it yet?
I haven't.
Hillbilly Elegy. It's his life story from a little boy up, okay? Unbelievable what he's come from and what he's been able to do with it. You look at McMaster, you look at Ron Johnson, all of these. Check these people out.
Yeah.
Mark Wayne Mullen. Check them out. See what their true background is. And then you vote. That's the greatest gift we have been given as Americans.
Yep.
And then let's go from there. But we've got to do it. And you've got to, and our pocketbook.
Yeah.
We got to start fighting this dark money.
Yeah.
We got to start fighting it.
I want to finish up on these elections. I'm
All right.
going to.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm
no,
sorry.
that's fine. I want to turn to a couple of prominent but rather local elections.
Okay.
And this one's over in Oklahoma City. You talk about a man proving himself. I want to talk about a man named Kevin Calvi. Kevin is an officer in the military. He actually was in the state legislature, had to leave and resign because the law back then was you couldn't be active duty and be a legislator. And so he left office. He served in the military at war, then came back and ran in another office and served out 12 years, which was the maximum. And then a few years ago, he ran for county commissioner in Oklahoma City and won. And he has been in charge in the driving force in cleaning up their jail. He put together jail board trust. And then he did the most impacting thing of all. He ran for district attorney for Oklahoma City. Now, listen, if you're not from Oklahoma City, I got to tell you why it matters to you. The district in our state constitution, whoever the district attorney is of the seat of government, which is Oklahoma City, has power to investigate any state official. And what's been going on, David Prater, Democrats held that office for way too long. He pulled some dirty tricks. Last week, Kevin Calvi did a press conference in front of David Prater's office. Prater showed up, came outside, and they went at each other with all the cameras there. Nondoc carried it. It's great. Trey Savage, great job covering that. But Kevin Calvi won last night, this week, 60-40 over David Prater's assistant was running against him. And so that's a huge thing. Kevin Calvi, pro-life, deeply committed Catholic Christian, and he's actually been doing a lot of work on Second Amendment at the Supreme Court and for right to life. This is the kind of character man he is. And I know him. He's a great guy. Now, over here in Tulsa, biggest race was probably the county commissioner race, Bob Jack versus Kelly Dunkerley. It got messy at the end, and they're actually, the attorney general called for a special investigator. Bob Jack's been looking into. Now, talk to somebody who's pretty connected. The Speaker of the House and the Senate President Pro Temp are actually the authors of the bill that became law that made what appears that Bob Jack did against Oklahoma law, in that you can't fill out somebody else's form for them.
Well, yeah,
and mail it to them.
Yeah.
It's kind of electioneering, okay? But now we'll see where they go with this. But nonetheless, I would say, Bob, it was a bad move politically. It's creepy.
Here's the question I have. Okay. He says he didn't do it. He says it was done by the company that
his campaign consulting company.
Right. So I don't know. Now, what happens does he have recourse to sue them?
He has already filed suit against them.
So in the long run, it's not going to affect the election. That's over.
No, it's over. He lost.
But I'm waiting to see what actually happens with regard to this.
I agree. And
what was the final numbers?
60-40.
64. So it wasn't. So conceivably, he could have possibly won had it not been for that.
I will say this.
It could have made a difference. It could have been a 10, 12-point swing.
I think it was just downright stupid and creepy. I don't think you garner support by sending people stuff that's got their mailing address out there.
That's why.
I'm sorry, their date of birth.
That's why I question, did he do it?
Oh, well, he contracted with these people. He's paying the bill for it.
I understand, but was it under his direct supervision? See, I like to consider someone innocent until proven guilty.
I understand that.
Okay. So I'm giving him the full benefit of the doubt.
I think, yes, because if he wasn't aware of it or whatever, it's one of those things where is malice and forethought, is he deliberately trying to? I think, we'll take this wherever it goes.
Right.
But
because honestly, I don't think I don't think that was necessary. Apparently, and if there were only 60 of these
that were turned in.
I
heard thousands went out.
Oh, okay.
I mean, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm trying to figure out where would they get the names and dates of birth and all of that private information. See, there's something more where they would even get that, because you have HIPAA. See, in my business, that's protected information.
Yeah, health information, right?
So, and date of birth is one of those.
Yeah, that's the one issue, because that's a security measure. But right. I'll tell you, back in 95, 96, when I was working in Phil Graham's campaign, we paid for and got the entire state voter rolls.
Yeah, that's true.
I just don't know if it included date of birth.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
I think there'll be some good answers coming.
It'll be interesting to see.
But I don't think it's nearly as bad as literally driving people to the polling place, So
that's the one that needs to be checked out.
Yeah.
That's one.
Now, a couple of conservative guys are in the runoff for the Tulsa City Council.
There's still another runoff?
Yes. City Council, their primary is during the runoff for state elections. I say runoff. It's nonpartisan, so
right,
the two that advance to the general election.
Which is a big mistake when we voted for
it. It is a major mistake. Yeah. But Chris Bingle and Ken Reddick are a couple of good conservatives I know that are Republican, and they're going to need help if we're going to have any kind of conservative voice in the Tulsa
Ken
City
Reddick
Council.
is my district.
Yeah. So anyway, those are a couple of things happening. There are some other races. There was no real big surprises, but I just wanted to cover that.
What is the one under Jack there?
Bob Jack. I want to tell you about Paul Tay. Paul Tay, who was arrested about a year ago, charged with kidnapping, molesting, and battery. And almost immediately, way back last fall, the judge threw out the kidnapping charge against the protestations of Steve Kunzweiler, district attorney, his team. They charged him with that, and the judge said, no, you don't have a case for that. But they kept him in jail for a full year. And then finally, he got an attorney that would do some investigating. He got actually an investigator. And they found out who this woman was. This woman has a long history of accusing several men. She's from Oklahoma City. So evidently, Kunzweiler didn't know anything about her here. But as soon as that came out in an evidentiary hearing, Kunzweiler's team dropped all the charges. But here's the thing. Paul lost everything. His belongings.
Is there a lawsuit in the making?
I asked Paul that. By the way, when he called me, caller ID was unavailable. He wouldn't tell me where he's at. He says, Dave, I'm in a safe place. Don't worry, I'm safe. He said, I will have something to say at a future date on that. He was being very careful. Now, we've seen Paul at some of his most outlandish moments.
Yeah.
The Paul that I talked to was very lucid. I have seen Paul at times. I mean, the guy, his intellect is amazing. You should, if you go on OSCN, look up Paul Tay, and you'll see it. He did several appeals to the Supreme Court over this and won on several of them. His legal mind is amazing. Paul and I have talked about other things, behavioral health kind of things, but that's all private. I'm not talking about that. But I just want you to know, Paul can be a brilliant guy, but he can also be his own worst enemy. And I think what happened here is Kunzweiler's been very frustrated with him. And I just wonder if Kunzweiler didn't just decide, well, we'll leave him sit in jail for a while. Because other DAs in the area have done that up in Osage County. You can ask the former DA up there, Rex Duncan. He accused his assistant of doing that. Well, Rex Duncan was serving in our military and overseas. The town drunk, from the way I remember the story, he found out, no, he wasn't guilty. It was conclusive. but left him in the full year. You know, that's major civil rights.
That's just because they don't have the money to get a lawyer to get them out.
Yeah, if you don't have an attorney. So here's where I'm going with this. If you think Paul Tay's been a problem in our community, just wait until Paul Tay is set for life financially. We have got to find a better way to put Paul Tay's skills and gifts and knowledge to use in a positive way, because we haven't up to now. And I disagree with what we've done. What they did, charging him with offending the morals of the community, and that every time that's been challenged, it's been thrown out.
Well,
it's an unconstitutional statute.
I mean, hey, the Democrat administration is challenging the morals of every community in our nation.
I know.
I mean, seriously, with the laws they're passing and all, there are no morals of the community anymore.
Yeah.
The community of the United States of America is
So
in trouble.
anyway, Paul watched our show last week, and yay, Paul, let's stay in touch. I think I'm going to be interviewing him coming up.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to close just with this talking about we've got in our state, the senatorial elections, we've got the Republicans against the Horns. We've got this is kind of a funny thing. You've got Langford and Mullen running against the Horns. I don't know if they're sisters or
No, they're not related.
It's just a coincidence that you've got Kendra Horn and Madison Horn.
Madison Horn moved here to run for office. In fact, she was challenged whether or not she met the residency requirements.
Where's she come from?
Out east. I'm trying to remember.
So she's a carpetbagger.
Yeah,
a true carpetbagger.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
here's what I think. She had the last name Horn and figured amongst Democrats in Oklahoma, it's gold. That's what I think.
I see. Okay. Yeah. So you've got Madison Horn going against James Langford, and then you've got Kendra Horn running against Markwayne Mullen. So we need you right now to get into your minds, GOP, this is for the Senate now. Now, we're not only trying to hold our seats, we're trying to increase the number of seats. So it's a very important election for the Senate. So be sure to get all of your friends. We're going to do all kinds of investigating for you. We'll be reporting everything we know about the Horns.
Don't get gored by the Horns.
Yes. Al Gord. No, but we will keep you informed on what's going there and down the line, House races, state races, and everything. But hey, we must take our government back to save our government. Because the thing you keep hearing about is our democracy, and they are not interested in our democracy. They're doing the opposite. They're creating an authoritarian regime is what they're trying to do. The Democrats want an authoritarian. We tell you what to do and you do. When we say jump, we want you to say high on your way up. That's what they're doing. That's not democracy.
Yep.
They have no clue on what and the one who really makes me want to puke every time I hear it come out of her mouth is the former Congresswoman from Wyoming.
Yeah, does that feel good?
Liz Cheney. And she keeps talking about democracy. She does not know what democracy is. Hasn't known for a long time, which is sad. I used to like her and her father too, but I don't know what happened to them. I think hers is just a vendetta. Yeah. She's just mad because Trump came against Bush and her dad.
Yeah.
That whole administration. But you can't let that kind of stuff bother you.
And I've got a brother who lives in Cheyenne, speaks very well of Hageman, Harriet Hageman.
Those people do.
Yeah, she's, Cheyenne's the biggest town. It's only 30,000. I mean, Wyoming is that? And so everybody knows each other in that. Hageman's solid. She's going to be fighting for Wyoming.
Oh, what she's supposed to do.
Right.
That's what she's supposed to do.
So
a congressperson is supposed to be fighting for their district and for their state.
Yeah.
Senate is for your nation and the state. Okay. So it's each one has a twofold, but Liz Cheney was fighting for D.C. And she had forgotten.
Yeah, she's fighting for the swamp.
Right,
I mean,
for the swamp. She
and
forgot where she's from.
I'll tell you, my nephew ran against John Barrasso last time. Of course, had no money. It wasn't gonna, but somebody needed to challenge him. And I'm going to say this: Barrasso's coming up here in a couple years, and somebody needs to show him because he's the number 2 guy under McConnell.
Wow.
Yeah, he's one of McConnell's guys, and we've got to have new leadership in the Senate.
Do.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. This was kind of a special little episode of what do we call this? Fresh black coffee.
Yeah, we're doing this Thursday. This weekend's my anniversary, and we're gonna be out of town.
Hey, Song of the Year. If you haven't been watching Stranger Things, there are stranger things than this show. Hey, Dave, have a great week.
Yeah.
Hey, God bless everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Take care.
All right.